Hello, this is Tanya Alfersi from thewiserwoman.com, and I am making this video today to try and offer some inspiration to women who are feeling just a little bit overwhelmed with this one story of menopause that's being pushed out quite aggressively, certainly in the UK and maybe in other places, that is telling women that if you don't go on HRT, you're never going to get a symptom relief. And if you don't go on HRT, then perhaps you're going to get chronic diseases down the line. And it's nonsense. And I'm happy to share that it's total nonsense. And I just wanted to offer some perspectives that could maybe help women feel a little bit lighter about what is going on, particularly, like I said, in the UK, maybe other countries too. But I know that several women have reached out to me from the UK feeling just a little bit overwhelmed with this massive push for HRT these days. So the first perspective that I want to share is that this is a business plan, right? It's not my business plan. It's not your business plan, probably, if you're watching this. But it is a pharmaceutical business plan that's just playing out. And for whatever reason, pharmaceutical companies have decided that the UK is a target to get more HRT sales. And this really started in 2017, I noticed, maybe a little bit before. But in 2017, there was a split between the British Menopause Society and the North American Menopause Society. And the British Menopause Society, even after some really significant research that was published that showed that HRT cannot be used to prevent chronic disease, and the North American Menopause Society took that on and changed their policy document on HRT. The British Menopause Society decided to carry on promoting that HRT can reduce the risk of chronic disease. And so it just fits into a pharmaceutical business plan that in the UK, they want to increase HRT sales. So as soon as you see it like that, it can help you feel a little bit more detached, perhaps, from everything that's playing out, right? Oh, that's the business plan. That's the pharmaceutical business plan, right? And running on top of that, there's another business plan, it seems to me, and that is the media business plan, which is to keep people moving from fear story to fear story, right? And for whatever reason, they think that's good for business. So they want women fearing menopause, fearing all these diseases that do increase from midlife onwards, but that's not because of menopause. That's because of the way we live our lives, right? And they want women to, I don't know, sit glued to the TV, fearing a natural part of our life cycle because they think it's good for business. Again, as soon as you see that, oh yeah, there's the pharmaceutical business plan, there's the media business plan, not my business plan, you can create space between the business plans and your own experience in menopause. So the second point that I want to bring up is that the science actually hasn't changed. And ever since the big promises that were made, the biggest promises that were made around estrogen therapy and then HRT in the 60s and 70s and 80s, the trend has been to downplay the effectiveness of HRT. So what happened is that huge promises were made based on no science, and with the years, science was done, large randomized controlled trials, and they discovered that what they had promised was actually not true. And you can see this like in every aspect of what they used to promise HRT could be good for. The trend has been to downplay the effectiveness. But for some reason in the UK, they've gone the other way, right? And we've really seen this over the last few years. So a great example is the 2022 Davina McCall program that was broadcast on Channel 4 that created a huge buzz and a huge amount of fear amongst women in the UK. And since then, there's been this strong push to redefine menopause as a hormone deficiency, and that's it. And stronger push to reduce the prices of HRT and to push out that this is the only solution and this is why women need access to it, etc., etc. And if you go behind these headlines and these celebrities and all these journalists that are now writing it just like as if they've got an HRT editor putting in those letters, HRT, to any article they write about menopause these days, you'll see that the science actually hasn't changed. And for example, the Davina McCall program was based on research that came out in 2021 and claimed that if women take HRT for a long time, which women aren't supposed to be taking HRT for a long time, then they will reduce their risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. And simply by going to the research itself, I was able to discover that the research was carried out over 5.1 years on average. How could they know anything about what's going on with regards to dementia or Alzheimer's when they're looking at menopausal women, and dementia and Alzheimer's normally happens decades later, if it happens. Okay? So that research wasn't solid at all. But it didn't stop the media from promoting it as if it was like a new Bible that had come out, giving the secrets of health. No, it wasn't solid at all. And so when you see in the media any claim of new research, if you're inspired, I encourage you to go and look up the research. And normally all it takes is reading the abstract, the conclusion, the methods. Is it a large randomized controlled trial? How long was it carried out for? And normally that's enough for you to understand, oh, this research is weak, right? We don't need to pay any attention to it. And like I said, the overall trend, which hasn't changed for decades, is that promises were made about HRT, the real science is done in terms of large randomized controlled trials, and they discover those promises weren't true, okay? So that's point number 2. And point number 3, which I think is the most important one, is that your body is brilliant. And that's not going to change. No matter what stories come out in the media, no matter what members of parliament tell you, no matter what celebrities claim, your body is brilliant. It knows how to journey through the menopause. It is designed for change, right? And it can guide us to good health and joy and lasting well-being if we just learn to listen in and understand how perhaps we can bring our lives back into balance with nature, and that will allow us to have a better time through perimenopause and menopause. And that is not going to change, right? So I hope these 3 points can help bring some calm in the whole menopause storm that's going on in the UK, and it may be going on in other places, and help you feel more confident if you've chosen this path, a more holistic path, a more loving path, a more trusting path in cooperation with your brilliant body. Okay, hope that helps.